Attention all pharmacy industry professionals. This isn't your grandfather's podcast. This is...
What the hell are you talking about? Our grandfathers never even listened to podcasts. The internet wasn't even around.
Shut your pie hole. My grandfather loves podcasts, and so does my maca.
Your what?
This is the RX Rated Podcast, part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Did you say maca?
Put the fidget spinners away. Punch in the coordinates for the jump to light speed. And do or do not. There is no try.
What kind of asshat introduction is this?
The podcast dedicated to all the pharmacy professionals in this crazy sector of healthcare.
What was that?
The RX Rated Podcast.
Dude, seriously? You already said that 3 other times. This is bullshit.
Welcome to the RX Rated Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jeffrey Winger. That's at JWingerPharmD on Twitter. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Dr. Maurice Shaw. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. I'm a little depressed because I know January 1st is upon us and everybody will have new insurances, and people who used to could use us can't use us, and we have to transfer their scripts, and other people who couldn't use their pharmacy and have to use my pharmacy, I'll have to transfer them in. So I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for the hell that's upon me in a couple of days.
That's upon us. The thing that gets me is this happens every year. And we're in the year, it's going to be 2020 for Christ's sakes. And still, I sound like a broken record, but I don't understand the numbers of people who still don't get how all this works and act like, what? This never happened before, and you got to explain, like, dude, this happens every fucking year. How can you not know this by now? I mean, am I just expecting too much, or should people be catching on at some point?
Yeah, they should be catching on. I just feel bad for them because, every year they have to go back and forth and transferring all their prescriptions, and I know they can't get them all right away because the pharmacists are like overwhelmed because you're trying to take these verbals and it takes all day. You got to transfer, RX number, original date, last date, filled doctor. If you haven't heard the doctor, the NPI or DEA.
And I know some companies like Express Scripts will tell their employees, you're not allowed to take any vacations during the month of January and February or something like that. But you would think on the reverse flip of that coin, they would also understand that because we're so busy during that time, we'll allot you extra tech hours to get you through these couple of months. But no, that side of the coin never seems to come up heads. It's always tails. No vacations, but no extra help either. Why is that? I mean, cut us some slack. It's going to be insane. Let us have bankrupt the company.
With less pharmacists help, we've been doing it for the last 5 years, so I don't see what incentive they have to add help since we've been doing it perfectly fine.
Well, that's funny you bring that up because Drug Topics magazine just had their annual pharmacist survey, and I guess the pharmacists who said their stress levels have increased was at an all-time high, something like 61%. Which seems kind of low if you ask me. They talked about their salaries, and I guess that didn't change much. The number of them that were extremely satisfied with their job doubled from 9% last year to 18%. So it seems like some of them are extremely satisfied, getting happier, but the stress is still the same. I know it's been 5 years, and where's the incentive? But you think the corporate CEOs would see these surveys and think, shit, 61%, let's try to help them out a little bit, see if we can get that down to at least half. I'm like, nah, they don't give a shit.
You think they read Drug Topics?
That's another thing.
All they read is the fiscal report.
There was a time when a pharmacy supervisor was a pharmacist. And then like 10, 15 years ago, that all changed and non-pharmacists started gaining control, which is weird to me because I remember a time when the supervisor would come visit you, and if you were slammed, they would jump in there and help you, but now they can't because they're not pharmacists. Like, when did this shit start, and why is this happening? Shouldn't they be pharmacists?
Yeah, they try to help. They'll come, but they don't know anything about pharmacy, so they'll be like, "Oh, let me put the bags away." I'm like, "Put the bags away? That's the last thing I need help with." One time, I had one try to help him and grab drive-through, and he was actually talking over the intercom.
Jesus.
I was like, "You're yelling over the intercom. How can I help you? That's not drive-through. Like, you can't even work drive-through."
So, how was your Christmas? Anything exciting?
No. Uh, my daycare was closed, and of course, I still had to work in the pharmacy 9 to 5 the day before, so I had to have grandma come and babysit. I didn't realize daycare was closed till the day before, but yeah, it was. I was amazed how many people would come in and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have to work today." I'm like, "But you're here." Like, if you're shocked that I'm working, why would you show up?
Exactly. My partner worked that 9 to 5 Christmas Eve shift too, and then I worked 9 to 9 the day after Christmas. And I saw him and I said, "Man, we were slammed the day after Christmas. Holy crap!" Of course, he has to be a one-upper and tell me how he was even more slammed on Christmas Eve. And I looked at his totals. He filled like 82 prescriptions or some abysmal number, but he was busy because of the pickups. He sold like 240 something prescriptions. He's like, there was always 3 people in line at the register the whole day long. We couldn't get anything done, which explains the
Well,
pile of scripts that were waiting for me on the 26th.
Really? Oh.
you can tell him that Monday before we did 1,200 prescriptions.
Damn. Well, like I said, we're a low volume store, and because of that, we've got one tech, and that's it. And some designated hitters that are almost make it harder than help. I try to delegate them to the register. Just defend me from the register and the phone, and I'll do everything else. But at your store, even though you're man,
I like
1,200.
the register. You just price modify next.
Ever since you said that, I've been doing that a lot lately. And like, I don't have time for this. Just price override.
As
Screw
long
it.
as it's not too crazy and it's just, you're not doing it like every single customer. Sometimes, because just lots of times I've paged a manager about a stupid coupon and they don't know why the price isn't going down, and they're just like, just price modify. And they walk away. One time when I worked on west side of Chicago, this store literally did like 900 prescriptions a day, and they really should have probably been 24 hours, but it was so dangerous they wouldn't allow the store to 24 hours. And they had so many people who had $2 copays with Medicaid not pick up their script. So the pharmacy manager literally price modified all of them to zero and
Dang.
delivered and had them delivered, because at that time we were delivering.
Jeez. Yeah, I also didn't do much on Christmas. I hung out with the family and we watched It's a Wonderful Life, and that's about it. Which was fun to watch again. I haven't seen that movie in ages. It's funny. You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Jimmy Stewart, the pharmacist, is drinking booze and smoking a cigar, and he's putting cyanide in capsules. I'm like, Jesus, the profession certainly has changed since the 40s. He's just tugging on a booze bottle, and he's got a stogie in his mouth. I'm like, what the hell? No wonder he almost killed somebody.
Yeah, smart.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Not to work pharmacy, but I don't see that happening. So, just the same typical. I really try to eat healthier while I'm at work. Usually I eat healthy when I don't have to work, but usually I work almost every day of the week. So I'm really trying to this year try to eat more vegetables, less carbs, try to not eat things that are come in plastic bags like chips and stuff like that. I want to do partial vegan. I want to eat vegan on Mondays, like turkey on Tuesdays, fish on Wednesdays,
That's good.
chicken on Fridays, and vegetables, only vegetables on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to try it out.
Every New Year, I resolve not to drink anymore. Just about the same.
You have to quit pharmacy for that.
I'm in a state of melancholism, but nothing makes me drink the way I do. I'm a volunteer. I swear to God, if a mosquito bit me, it would die from alcohol poisoning.
Somebody asked me, I have a friend that's a pharmacist. What gift do you think they would like? I said, anything alcoholic.
Yep. The only things I fix around the house are Manhattans and martinis. It reminds me of that proverb, where there's a swill, there's a sway. But the funny thing about that is I never have a hangover. I stay drunk. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Boom. Those are my. That's what you listen to, folks. That's the first-rate stand-up comedy right there from a non-professional. Oh, speaking of drinks, you want to get our drinks out of the way? Do you have one?
Yeah.
I was on Instagram and Crown Royale was promoting this holiday thing they call salted caramel. And what you do, it's a salted caramel white Russian recipe. And you have 1 ounce coffee liqueur, 1 ounce Crown Royale salted caramel, and 4 ounces of milk or cream. And that's it. And that's your salted caramel white Russian recipe. And I thought, damn, that looks good. They have a picture of it on there and everything. Not that I follow, alcohol manufacturers on Instagram or anything. I just happened to come across it, folks. I swear.
We should come up with our own brand of liquor and call it like, I don't know, distilled or pharmacy or something.
Yeah, Adam Carolla came up with his own drink, Mangria. It's an established booze, and he just added more booze to it, and he calls it Mangria. And he's got like 3 different flavors. It's pretty good.
Somebody told me, I don't know if this is true, that you could technically drink while at work as long as your blood alcohol level isn't above a certain level. I don't know what that number is, but maybe if we come out with a drink for the pharmacy that has a little bit of alcohol but not enough to get you fired.
I don't know if I'm ballsy enough to try that.
All righty then.
I have a question. I heard that in Illinois, where you're at, that the state legislature says no shifts can be more than 12 hours, and you have to have mandatory half-hour break. And if you work anything more than an 8-hour shift or 6-hour shift, you have to have a 15-minute break. Is this true?
If it is true, it didn't happen to my store. I know we do get mandatory lunches on the weekend, but I don't get one during the week. Everybody says, "How come you all get a lunch on the weekend, but not during the week?" I was like, "Yeah, they figure if we starve Monday through Friday, we can hang in there until the weekends where we can finally eat."
I think I remember talking about that before. That sounds familiar. That seems weird to me. Oh, what was this Micronesia thing that you sent me? Are there pharmacy jobs in Micronesia where you can make a pharmacist's salary but not have to pay the taxes that you would normally have to pay?
Yeah, it was a job to be I think it was a pharmacist, and it says earn U.S. wages without U.S. taxes.
Yeah.
And they kept talking about world-class scuba diving. Like, if you get hired on as a pharmacist, you can go scuba diving for free and do other like underwater activities.
If you weren't married with children, would you seriously consider doing something like that?
No, are you kidding me? I'm not getting that water. I'm scared of sharks.
Yeah, I just saw 48 Meters Below Uncaged, which was one of the worst movies of the year. I just had to watch it.
But I would like to experience a year of U.S. wages without U.S. taxes.
Yeah, tell me about it. Well, I'm not a history major, but I think it was 1913. Up until then, everybody kept 100% of their salary, and that's when the income tax came into law. It was like in the early part of the 20th century. So it's only been like 100 years since we've been doing this. Why don't we go back? Let everybody keep what they earn, and we'll figure it out for ourselves. We don't need the government to spend our money for us. Yeah, that'll happen.
Hey, let me tell you this. I have been drinking a CAIPIRINHA. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the national drink of Brazil. It's a Caipirinha, and it's I think it's made with cacao, which is hard sugarcane liquor, sugar, and lime, and it's the national drink of Brazil. It's pretty good.
I wonder what the rate of diabetes is down there. Wow, that sounds...
They probably don't know. They got a lot of crime and violence. They probably don't live long enough to figure out.
Oh, so we mentioned last time that Vials is going to be a podcast, episodic podcast, and
it's going to be a script. Go ahead.
Well, you had a release date.
I believe in April is when they're going to have their first scripted podcast, which is, I mean, hopefully it's successful. I know there's a podcast called Murder Mysteries, and they signed like $1 million deal to keep doing their podcast.
And they're taking scripts from people. So if any of you out there
Yeah.
fancy yourself a writer and want to contribute, they're gonna be taking ideas from people.
Yeah, they're gonna be taking scripts and then they'll vote on the top 3 scripts. So go to the Vials page and email them and tell them you were listening to the RX Rated podcast too.
Is it the Vials page on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, I might do that myself.
Yesterday I had to go. My driver's license expired on my birthday, and I just never got it updated. So I went to the DMV, and I had to wait there for 2 hours. It was like me and 50 other people. And they're calling these random numbers. I don't even know how they come up with these numbers. Like I was like B236. Then you're hearing like, X118 and FJ239. But as I was sitting there for 2 hours, I noticed not one person complained. Nobody yelled. Nobody said this is ridiculous, which I got kind of jealous because, in the pharmacy, when they have to wait over 10, 15 minutes, they start complaining. But I also noticed the DMV also had 2 police officers with guns. So I'm thinking that's what we need in the pharmacy. We need armed police officers in the lobby. And I think people will stop complaining about wait times.
I always tell everybody, once I retire, I'm going to just, like a superhero, travel around to various pharmacies and defend pharmacists from asshole customers. And I think if enough of us...
No, I will say a lot of times, because my pharmacy is just so crazy, that when I go to other places that have pharmacies and I don't see a line, like I always pause. Like, what's going on? The pharmacy closed. Why is there no line?
Well, I think if enough of us speak out and shame those who... I see these videos on Twitter all the time where people are throwing fists at McDonald's because they screwed up their order or they owe them $3.13. It's like, Jesus Christ, people. You're jumping through drive-through windows and everything because of this. If enough of us speak up and say, you can't act like that, stop acting that way, maybe this stuff will chill out.
Now that I don't understand, because at least in the pharmacy, well, at least for pharmacists, when people scream at pharmacists, they know they get paid a decent salary, so they're not going to do anything. But I would never scream at somebody from McDonald's. Did you see that one guy that was yelling at the person from McDonald's and he hit the person upside the head with the blender?
No.
He got tired of him and hit him upside the head with the blender machine that they had. Like when people are making that low of a salary, like, you're not going to take that type of verbal abuse. Those are the people I don't talk crazy to.
Yeah, and these videos are legion. They're just seems like there's a new one every day. What's going on at the fast food restaurants that people are so cranky?
If you go to a website called World Star Hip Hop, it's always videos, usually at Popeyes for whatever reason, of workers who get tired of customers and hop over the counter and start fighting them.
Jesus Christ. Well, speaking of social media, I was on YouTube and I saw that you posted another video recently. I didn't get a chance to watch yet. It's only 3.5 minutes or something, but tell us what that was about.
It was just a Friends parody, a pharmacy version of it. Just basically how without each other in the pharmacy, it probably couldn't get through the day, because at least you're battling all the things you have to deal with in the pharmacy with your coworkers or friends. So kind of helps you get through the day. Like when the delete list is 82 and your friend helps you, or when the Uyama breaks and you can't fix it, your friends come and help you, or when a customer starts yelling at you and your coworker comes over there to get your back, it helps make the day a little bit easier. So
cool. I can't wait to check that out.
I love the people who commented, I don't have friends in the pharmacy. I'm sure that he's like, I'm sure the pharmacy manager and the senior tech wish I would quit.
Well, we're training a tech right now, and she's real young and very gabby. And God, there's nothing worse than someone who's constantly interrupting you, whether you have a phone attached to your head or you're in mid-conversation with someone else. They don't give a shit. They'll just interrupt you, and it's like, you got to stop doing that. I'm trying to concentrate over here. And they just bombard you with questions from across the pharmacy. I swear to God, she must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle or something. I mean, she's breathtaking. Every few hours, she stops taking a breath and starts talking again. What she needs is a little lockjaw or something. And
I hate when my biggest pet peeve is when I'm doing something and like especially my newer technicians, as they're waiting for me to finish, like taking a transfer or a new prescription or working on the insurance issue, They just stand there and stare at me. I'm like,
Yeah,
can you please type or put away bags or
exactly. It's like we're
or
super.
just I don't care if you're not even doing anything, just don't stare at me because I already have a customer staring at me now. It's like I got two people staring at me from all sides.
Actually said this. It was the day after Christmas. We're swamped, right? And my lead tech and this girl that we're training were just standing and talking. Now, my lead tech was doing, she was counting pills or labeling or something, but the other one was just standing there and talking for minutes and minutes. And like, guys, less talking, more working. There's no standing around today. Maybe on other days, but not today. We're super busy. How can you just, in good conscience, just stand still? I'm running around like a rooster with his head chopped off, and you're just going to stand there and yak? Like, come on, we got to get to work. I mean, she has a chronic speech impediment. It's called palpitation of the tongue. Her vocabulary is small, but the turnover is terrific. It's just unbelievable. And
I used to have a technician that would always yell, argue, and cuss. I eventually had to let her go, but when customers would complain about her, I was like, yeah, she has Tourette's. I apologize.
It's unbelievable. I love the brazen drug mispronunciations. If I don't know how to pronounce something, like you just did, I'll spell it out and admit I don't know how to pronounce this. I love the people who just don't give a shit and they brazenly mispronounce things without a blink of an eye. Like, yeah, this patient wants a refill on her Adalatan. Like, you mean atorvastatin? How do you get Adalatan from atorvastatin? Yeah, the Omcelico. She wants her Omcelico. Are you talking about omeprazole? Like, the Lioness. She needs her Lioness prescription. Yeah, that's called lisinopril. Like, they don't even give a shit. Like, they must know they're mispronouncing it, but there's no shame. Like, I don't give a shit how to pronounce this.
When I first started at my pharmacy, there was a technician, an older person, been there for 10 years. And one of the newer techs, was trying to say citalopram, and she was mispronouncing it. I think she said citalopram or something.
That's close.
So when she got out of the drive-thru, I was like, yeah, it's just pronounced citalopram. And then the other older tech goes, don't feel bad. I used to pronounce it escitalopram. And I said, you do know there's two separate drugs. And he had no clue. And then everybody just stared at him like, those are two separate drugs, bro.
Propofol! Propofol! Don't act like you don't hear me. Propofol! Propo! Estradiol! Estradiol!
It's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
I just want to say, like, you're not even trying. Sound it out. Like, what happened? I remember in school being taught, sound it out. You break it into parts and sound it out. I don't think they teach that anymore.
I will say that no matter whether it's a pharmacist, I'm trying to think at least the last year, every time I've heard whether it be a pharmacist or a technician try to pronounce the generic name for Keppra, everybody says it differently.
Oh, yeah. We had a debate about that, actually. Is it levetiracetam or levetiracetam? And I don't know. I got overruled. They said the way I was pronouncing it was wrong.
I say generic Keppra.
Last thing I wanted to mention was this OmniCare thing. Apparently, the country's largest long-term care pharmacy, which is owned by CVS, has been fraudulently renewing prescriptions for hundreds of thousands of drugs without doctor approval. Did you hear about this?
No.
OmniCare, which caters to people in living facilities, assisted living facilities, group homes, and other elderly communities, was illegitimately renewing prescriptions for patients when their old ones ran out and expired or ran out of refills. And instead of getting new ones from the doctor, they just went ahead and willy-nilly renewed everything. And I don't know, if I had stock in CVS, I'd be like, ooh, maybe time to sell. That's not a good look.
Hey, let the stock price drop and then we'll buy it. It'll eventually go back up. I can see it though. Especially when you have those people. What do you mean the doctor hasn't refilled my Pro Air? It's been 2 weeks. Well, they said you have to make an appointment. You haven't been in there. Blah, 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 blah. I could see them. Well, it's senior living, so they probably don't do those issues. But
I love when they ask me, well, how long is it going to be before he gets back to you? I'm like, how the hell do I know? Why would you even ask me that? I don't know. I'm not your doctor. I have no. Do you want me to drive over to his office, put him in a headlock, and make him write the prescription? I mean, that sounds like that's what you expect me to do. I have no idea when he's going to call me back. You get that
You
a
know,
lot?
like when you get off, when you get off a plane and you go to baggage claim, and it's like there's like a little booth for like Southwest, Spirit, just all the plane companies. So if your baggage gets lost or you have a problem, there's somebody there. I wish that like for every insurance company possible, we had like a representative. So people say, why is my copay $25? I go, you go to the Blue Cross booth and you speak to that person, or you go to the Aetna booth and speak to that person. Because they always ask me, like, why is this price? And I said, I don't know. That's just the price they came back.
When they try to get me to call their insurance, I'm like, well, there's a 1-800 customer service number on the back of your card. Just call them and they'll tell you why this isn't covered and what the alternatives are. And, well, isn't that your job? I'm like, yeah, I'm super swamped. I'm by myself. I have no tech help. Literally, I'm by myself.
No, you just say, yeah, I'll give them a call. I'll wait 20 minutes. Say, yeah, I called and they said that that's just the price. And if you'll have to call the number on the back of your card. And they say, okay.
Yeah, because they're just going to regurgitate what you got in the rejection in the first place. Yeah, not covered. Yeah, that's what it said. I had to call. They told me to call, so I had to call. Yeah, I was like, I don't have time to. I'll say I'll do it when I can. But I can't right now, and they get indignant. Like, well, lady, you realize you're not my only customer, right? I'm busy. I'll do it when I can get to it, but I got 10 people staring at me, and my computer is regurgitating prescription leaflets constantly. I got shit to do. I'll do it when I get a chance. I can't do it right now immediately. Geez, don't they understand? I guess I answered my own question. No, they don't understand. 2020, they still don't understand.
No, that's not. Why would that make sense? Why would you even think that way?
I was watching Miss America, and they just crowned the old Miss America's term ended, so the new one took over. But I guess she's getting her doctorate of pharmacy from Virginia Commonwealth University. And I was thinking, Miss America, if you're listening, no.
And show us your boobs. No, I'm just kidding.
I can only imagine, like, I've seen the creepy and awkward things that guys have said to like technicians and pharmacists that weren't even all that beautiful. So I can only imagine the awful things she's going to hear when she's a pharmacist.
When I was watching It's a Wonderful Life, there's a scene where his younger brother slaps I don't think is she a nanny? She may be a nanny. Slaps her right on the ass. I'm like, God, a guy just got jail time for doing that to a local reporter she was reporting on a bridge during not a race, but a marathon or something. And some guy slapped her on the butt as he ran by. And sure enough, they found out who he was and he got in trouble. Wow. Back in the 40s, that was like no big deal. You put that in a family Christmas movie, but nowadays you go to jail if you do that shit. Times have changed. And with that, that's a good message to leave on. Times have changed. Anything else before we go?
No, that's about it.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. Remember, every prescription you fill is one more closer to retirement.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, it's your drug dealer. I thought I'd call in case you needed anything at all. You know, you can always call me just to talk, but I mostly want to sell you drugs. Drug dealer.